The first warning came as a soft chime in every ship of the Terran fleet. Like a polite knock on a locked door, Captain Mira Chen did not jump. She only turned to the wide star screen and watched the message unfold in clean, cold letters. By decree of the Galactic Empire of Varn, it said, your fleet will power down, surrender all weapons, and accept inspection. Failure will be treated as rebellion. Space looked calm, a quiet river of stars, but sensors showed a shadow moving. In an Imperial battle group, huge and neat, like a blade sliding from its sheath. Lieutenant Sato spoke fast. 8 capital ships, 30 escorts, 1 dreadnought. Mira almost smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. The Empire had chased them for weeks, pushing them from relay to relay. Patch. To Admiral Reyes, Mira said. The Admiral's face appeared, tired but steady. Captain, they want us to shut down, Mira said. They brought the big one. Reyes glanced at his data. Pride. They want a clean win. Let them think they will get it. Mira stared at the approaching formation. The dreadnought carried a bright crest on its hull. A moving monument meant to scare any small fleet into silence. Open channel, she said. A Varn commander appeared, tall, gray-skinned, with rich cheeks and eyes like polished stone. His uniform was heavy with gold marks. Human captain, he said, voice smooth and sharp. You have ignored 3 decrees. You will comply. Mira kept her tone simple. We are in open space. We are not your subjects. All lanes in this sector are under the Empire's peace. He replied. You signed the Outer Trade Compact. We signed a trade paper, Mira said, not a leash. The commander's eyes narrowed. You are small. You are far from your world. You carry old ships. You have no allies here. This is mercy. Mira studied him. Varn doctrine was clear. Crush the weak fast, then display the wrecks as a lesson. We are far from home, Mira agreed. Then you understand the cost, the commander said. In the pause that followed, Mira's ship sent tight beam signals in patterns too small for the Varn to notice. A code passed from ship to ship, like a shared breath. No, Mira said at last. We understand the value. Power down, now. Behind the commander, the dreadnought moved closer. Weapon ports opened like dark mouths. The Varn did not fire yet. They wanted surrender on record. Reyes appeared on Mira's private line. They'll shoot soon, he said. 2 minutes, maybe less. Then we give them their picture. Mira answered. She turned to her crew. All ships, execute Lantern. No one asked what Lantern meant. They knew. It had been drilled until it lived in their bones. Across the Terran line, reactors dipped. Drives cooled. Weapon systems went dark. One by one, the ships dimmed their running lights until they looked like dead metal among the stars. On the open channel, the Varn commander relaxed. Good, he said. Inspection boats will approach. Mira nodded. You may come close. The feed cut. Silence filled the bridge. Only the low hum of life support remained. Mira watched. Imperial escorts break formation. Small craft peeled away. Inspection boats with cutting tools and arm teams. Sato swallowed. They're coming in close. Let them, Mira said. The Terran ships held their dead posture, yet deep in their cores, a different system waited. Not tied to guns or engines. It was tied to a human habit. Build tools. For hard places, plan for the worst, and smile when someone said impossible. The first inspection boat crossed into the Terran formation. It glided toward a cruiser. Bright lights scanning hull plates. The Varn crew inside believed the war was over. Then every Terran ship opened a thin hatch and released something small, dull, and almost invisible. Seeds, hundreds of them, drifting on gentle puffs of gas, spraying like dandelion fluff in a silent field. On Mira's screen, tiny dots filled the space between fleets. The Varn did not react. Their sensors did not flag them as threats. They were to light, to slow, to harmless. Mira allowed herself a real smile. Reyes spoke again. Quiet. Lantern is lit. Mira watched the seeds drift toward the Empire's ships, toward open weapon ports, toward warm vents and docking seams. Each seed carried no explosives, no blades, only a folded mesh and a patient timer. The Varn dreadnought rolled closer, proud and certain, ready to claim a surrender. Somewhere inside the huge ship, officers were already planning a victory parade tomorrow, and the Terran fleet, powerless and obedient in appearance, waited for the moment the Empire would learn the first rule of human war. Sometimes the trap looks like fear. The Varn boarding teams moved like they own the stars. 6 inspection boats slid between the silent Terran ships, their floodlights sweeping over hull plates and engine rings. Inside each boat, armored Varn soldiers checked seals, tightened gloves, and laughed in short, proud bursts. They spoke as if the battle was already a story to tell, not a danger to survive. "Look at them," one officer said, watching the Terran cruiser drift with its lights dim. "They pretend to be brave. Then they fold. Humans always do." Another tapped a tablet and snorted, "No shield shimmer, no drive heat. They are dead metal. The Emperor will enjoy this." They docked with the Terran frigate first. Cutting beams traced the neat circle, and the boarding tube blocked with a loud clang that echoed through metal. The Varn leader raised his rifle like a banner. "Open," he ordered. The Terran airlock hissed. The door swung wide, and a human team stood inside, unarmed, calm, hands visible. Their faces were still, not fear, not anger, just steady eyes that made the Varn feel, for a second, like something was missing from the picture. The Varn leader stepped forward. "You will kneel," the human officer spoke in basic trade English. "Inspection is allowed. Violence is not needed." The Varn leader scoffed. "You do not make rules here." He pushed past, soldiers behind him, boots loud on the deck. They began to scan the ship. Power readings were low. Weapons systems were off. Everything matched surrender. The Varn took pictures, marking trophies without blood. Outside, more inspection boats reached the other Terran ships. The Empire's escorts also moved closer, tightening the circle. They wanted to be near enough to strike if the humans tried anything. That choice brought them exactly where the seeds needed them. The seeds drifted in slow clouds, almost gentle, pulled by tiny currents of heat and air leak. They were dull gray, the size of a fingernail, with soft edges that did not reflect light. When they touched Imperial hulls, they did not bounce, they held on. A seed found a cooling vent on an escort ship. It clung to the rim like dust. Another slid into a narrow seam near a missile bay door and settled there, invisible to casual scans. More reached the dreadnought. That ship had many warm vents and large ports, breathing heat from a massive reactor. To the seeds, it was a beacon inside each seed. A timer ended. A thin line appeared, then another. Like a flower opening in zero air, the seed unfolded into a smart mesh, spreading in a tight, controlled pattern. It did not explode. It did not spark. It simply grew and gripped. The mesh was soft but strong, woven with tiny sensors and a memory of shapes. It wrapped the inside of vents, webbed across intake fans, and pressed into seams until it was hard to see where metal ended and mesh began. It did not stop everything at once. That would have been too loud to clear. It slowed systems in careful steps. On a Varn escort, the first sign was small, cooling efficiency down 3%. A technician reported. A senior officer waved it away. "We are close to human wrecks." Their cold hulls changed local thermal flow. Minutes later, another escort logged a warning. "Port shield capacitor running hot." Then increased coolant flow. "We did." "Do it again." The technician's hands moved fast. The numbers did not improve. They worsened. On the dreadnought, the problems arrived like insects under armor. Small, irritating, easy to ignore until they were everywhere. A weapons officer frowned. "Main rail cannon vent pressure is rising." The dreadnought's commander, Lord Commander Vecthalos, did not look up from the battle display. "They have surrendered," he said. "Do not distract me with minor heat, but the vent, handle it." The officer turned away, jaw tight. He sent orders to increase purge cycles. Fans spun harder. The mesh inside the vents tightened, responding to pressure like living cloth. It flexed, blocked, and held. Another report came. Thruster response delay on starboard side. Thalos tapped a claw on his armrest. "We are stationary. We do not need perfect thrusters to accept surrender." Then the first real stumble happened. An escort ship tried to adjust formation and drifted too far. Its thrusters firing late and uneven. It bumped a sister ship, metal scraping metal. The collision was light, but in a disciplined fleet it felt like a slap. Careless, an officer snapped across comms, maintained spacing. The escort captain, flushed with shame, understood. We had a thruster lag. Correcting. They corrected again. The lag returned. In the boarding teams, the Varn grew even more confident. They saw no human weapons, no active reactors. They began to treat the Terran ships like crates to be opened, not predators to be watched. One Varn soldier pointed at a wall panel filled with handwritten labels in simple English. They mark their wires like children, he said. A human. Engineers standing nearby answered calmly, it helps when something breaks. The Varn soldier laughed. Your ship is already broken. The human said nothing. His eyes moved to the ceiling, listening to vibrations the Varn could not read. Across space, the Terran fleet remained quiet. No sudden movement, no bright flare, only the slow drift of ships that looked defeated, but inside Terran hulls. Hidden monitors tracked imperial heat curves and pressure spikes. Lantern did not need fire, it needed time. On the Dreadnought, the mesh reached a deeper set of systems. Some vents were linked to power distribution, some seams led near sensor housings. The mesh crawled, not like a living thing, but like a smart material responding. To maps it carried, a sensor officer blinked at his screen. External skin noise increased. It's like static. Delos finally looked up. Static. From what? We are receiving interference. Low level. It comes and goes, then filter it. We are filtering. It's still there. Delos' crest stiffened. For the first time, he felt a thin edge of doubt. Not fear. Pride did not allow fear. But doubt was allowed. If it could be crushed quickly, he opened a fleet-wide channel. All ships report status. One by one, officers answered. Small issues, heat rises, minor delays, unstable readings. Nothing deadly, nothing obvious. Yet the list was too long for comfort. Delos shut the channel. Irritated, we are too close to human scrap, he muttered. Their metal is old, it leaks, it contaminates sensors, maintain discipline. His first officer hesitated. My lord, perhaps we should widen formation until inspection is complete. Delos' eyes hardened. Retreat from surrendered. Pray, no, my lord, only. Delos stood, towering over his chair. If we widen formation now, every captain will whisper that the Terrans frightened us with silence. The Emperor will hear those whispers. I will not give them that. He leaned closer, voice low and sharp. Continue inspections. Increase internal cooling. Keep weapons ready. We leave only when the humans kneel and record. The first officer bowed. As you command. The Dreadnought stayed close, and the net tightened. On Mirachen's bridge, lights remained dim. Her crew spoke in whispers. They watched numbers climb in their hidden feeds. Vent pressure, thermal, load, fan resistance, coolant flow disruption. The Empire's ships were beginning to sweat. Sada looked at Mira. They're not backing off. Mira's smile returned, small and controlled. Of course not, she said. Pride is heavier than armor. Outside, Varn inspection boats continued to dock, cutting and scanning, bragging over open comms about how easy humans were to tame, and all around them, in vents and seams they could not see. The Terran seeds unfolded into quiet, patient webbing turning. The Empire's perfect machines into slow, joking giants, one small failure at a time. The first misfire sounded like embarrassment. On an Imperial escort, a gunnery officer ordered a warning shot into empty space. The ship's forward cannon charged, its coils winding up to full power. The targeting reticle turned green, then blinked yellow, then red. Lock confirmed, the officer said, forcing confidence into his voice. Fire. Nothing happened. He blinked and tried again. The cannon refused. A soft alarm chimed. Heat limits. Vent pressure high. Safety lock engaged. By the void. He hissed. Override. The console flashed a second warning and shut the system down harder, as if the ship itself had decided the officer could not be trusted. Across the battle group, other small failures began to show. Not dramatic, not heroic, just strange. Shields on a destroyer flickered for half a second, enough for everyone to see. The captain snapped at engineers. Engineers swore they had done nothing wrong. A second flicker followed, longer this time. A cruiser drifted out of line and took too long to correct. Its thrusters fired late, then overfired, then cut out again. The ship wobbled like a proud animal stepping on a white dot inside the Dreadnought. Lord Commander Vecthalos stood over a main display that was now full of orange warnings. His officers tried to speak in calm voices, but the comm was cracking. Starboard shield bank is dropping to 85, a shield officer reported. We are not under fire, Thalos snapped. Even so, my lord, it is unstable. Stabilize it. We are trying. Another officer stepped in. Weapon base 3 and 5 are reporting door jams. The actuators are resisting. Thalos glared. Doors do not resist. The officer swallowed. They do, my lord. Like something is. Inside the seams, Thalos' jaw tightened. Send maintenance drones. We did. Drones are failing in the vents. Their filters clogged. The officer hesitated. They returned covered in a thin weave. Thalos froze for a heartbeat. A thin weave. Not dust. Not ice. Something placed out at that moment. A new alert came from the escort screen. Boarding team on human vessel. To request extraction. Their docking tube is stuck. Thalos turned sharply. Stuck. They say the tube collar will not release. Controls respond, but the mechanism does not move. Another channel opened over comms, half panicked, half angry. Command. Our internal doors are locking without order. We are cutting through. But then a third voice. Our sensors are full of static. It is like we are looking through fog. Thalos' first officer leaned in, voice low. My lord, this pattern is coordinated. Thalos did not answer at once. Pride pushed him to deny it. But the list of failures was no longer small. It was spreading like a stain. He opened a fleet channel, forcing his voice to stay cold. All ships, Titan formation, prepare to fire on Terran hulls if they move. A captain replied with tension, My lord, our weapons are not responding. Then fix them. We are attempting. Our cooling systems are failing. Heat is rising in every bank. Thalos' eyes narrowed. Heat, vents, doors, static, jammed docking collars. He looked out at the Terran ships, still dim, still dead. They floated like stones in black water. It was too quiet. No human panic. No desperate messages. No begging. Only the silence of a plan unfolding. Then the Terran spoke. A clean signal cut through the static. Strong and simple. Broadcast across open space. The voice was not loud. It did not need to be. This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran fleet. It said in basic trade English. You entered our lane without consent. You attempted forced inspection. You are now disabled. Leave this sector. The message repeated once, then again. Same words. No threats. No insults. Just an exit sign. Thalos felt anger burn behind his ribs. Disable. A word the Empire used for broken ships in conquered worlds. A word never used for a Varn dreadnought. They dare. He said softly. He opened a channel to the nearest destroyer captain. Fire on their lead ship. Now, make them bleed. The destroyer captain's voice came back strained. My lord, the cannon will not vent. If we force it, we risk internal rupture. Force it. Thalos hissed. The captain paused. My lord, I will not kill my crew for a warning shot. Thalos' eyes widened. That kind of refusal was rare. It meant fear had arrived, quietly, without a battle. He slammed his fist on the rail. Then launched missiles. Missile bay doors are jammed. Then rammed them. Thalos snapped. Desperate to regain control through violence, the destroyer captain hesitated. Our thrusters are unstable. We may not hold course. Thalos ended. The channel, around him, officers kept reporting failures. The dreadnought's own systems were degrading in slow steps. It was like being trapped in soft nets that did not show until you were already tangled. He turned to his first officer. Find the source. The officer's hands flew over panels. No external weapon signature. No EMP. No hacking link we can trace. It's internal. Internal. Thalos remembered how close they had moved. How close the inspection boats had docked. How close the fleet had clustered, eager to watch humans surrender. He stared at the Terran ships again, and for the first time, he noticed something he had dismissed before. The humans had powered down to smoothly, to cleanly, not like a panic surrender, but like a rehearsed gesture. They had invited the Empire in. The Terrans did not fire. They did not surge forward with bright engines. They did not try to kill anyone. Instead, they used small, calm actions that turned every Imperial attempt into wasted effort. When an escort tried to spread out, its thrusters lagged worse, and the ship drifted into another, forcing both to waste fuel correcting. When a captain tried to force shields to full strength, heat spiked and systems shut down to protect themselves. When Marines tried to cut open a jammed door, the door seals expanded and the cut slowed like the ship was healing against them. The Terrans had designed the trap to punish rushing, not to reward it, and the boarding team's Thalos' proud soldiers were now stuck. Their docking collars refused to release. Their tubes would not retract. The Terran ships were holding them like fish held in gentle nets, alive, but caught. A new Terran message came, calm as the first. Release your boarding teams, pull back, leave this sector. Thalos' officers looked at him, waiting for the order that would save their pride or save their people. He wanted to roar. He wanted to burn the humans until their hulls turned to ash. But he could not even guarantee his weapons would fire, and every second he delayed made the fleet more tangled. He forced himself to breathe slowly. Humans, he said, tasting the word differently now. Not prey, not children, engineers, planners, patient makers of tools. His first officer spoke carefully. My lord, this is not a battle. This is a lesson. Thalos turned his head, eyes hard. A lesson? Yes, my lord. They are not trying to destroy us. They are trying to control us. Control. The Empire's favorite word. Thalos hated. Hearing it turned against him. He looked back at the star screen. The Terran fleet remained still, silent, watching. Then he saw it, clear as a blade. The humans were not smiling because they thought the Empire was funny. They were smiling because the Empire had done exactly what humans expected. Thalos opened a channel to Admiral Reyes. His voice was stiff, proud, but no longer sure. Terran Admiral, he said, if we withdraw, what happens to my boarding teams? Reyes answered without delay. You pull back. We release. No deaths, no trophies. You leave. That's it. Thalos swallowed anger like poison. Around him, warning lights continued to bloom. He had come to punish a small fleet. Instead, he had walked into a net made of patience and simple design. And he understood, too late, that humans were not weak. Humans just waited until the moment's strength mattered. Thalos ordered a slow retreat, and the order felt like swallowing glass. Imperial escorts tried to widen formation, but half their thrusters answered late. As if the ships had grown tired, the dreadnought rolled with heavy care, keeping its damaged rhythm. Cooling alarms still rang behind every bulkhead. Doors still jammed in random sections. Shield banks still pulsed like weak hearts. And yet, the Terrans did not fire. Admiral Reyes kept his fleet dark and still, like a wall that did not need to move to block a road. The Terrans opened a channel again. Pull your boarding teams back, Reyes said. We will release every caller when your ships reach safe distance. Thalos' first officer looked relieved, but Thalos stayed stiff. He did not like depending on an enemy's promise. Why? Thalos demanded. You can kill us. You have trapped us. Why do you offer terms? Reyes answered in the same plain English, calm like a doctor explaining a simple truth. Because killing you doesn't solve the problem, he said. Leaving does. Thalos stared at the star screen. The Terran ships floated in neat lines. Their engines remained quiet. Their guns remained silent. It was not weakness. It was restraint. He turned to his officers, order all boarding teams to return. No delays. No hero acts. A Marine commander protested. My lord, we can still take hostages. Thalos cut him off. No, you will obey. One by one, the boarding teams moved back through tubes they had once marched through with pride. Now they moved carefully, watching every seam, every vent, every harmless shadow. On the Terran ships, human crews stood aside and let them pass. No insults, no cheers, no cruelty. When the last Varn team cleared an airlock, the docking collars finally loosened. Tubes retracted, boats drifted away. The humans had been holding them, and now they let go like open hands. Thalos watched his boats return. Only then did he order the dreadnought farther back. But the dreadnought did not obey like it should. Its main drive refused full ignition. Safety locks blinked. Internal heat rose again as if the ship was choking on its own breath. The giant vessel slowed, stuck in the space between retreat and collapse. Report, Thalos snapped. Engineering answered with shame. We cannot vent. The mesh, it is everywhere. We clear one duct. It spreads in another. We do not understand. The material. Thalos went cold. The Terrans had not just disabled weapons. They had made the dreadnought unable to run. He opened a private channel to Reyes again. You said leave, Thalos said. My ship cannot. Reyes did not sound surprised. We know. For the first time, Thalos felt something close to fear, not a death, but a helplessness. Then you lied. No. Reyes replied, you can leave. You just can't leave by force. A pause. We will guide you. Reyes continued. We will stabilize your systems enough for travel. But first, you will stand down. Full stand down. Weapons cold. Fleet halted. No tricks. Thalos' pride screamed, but his dreadnought's warning. Lights were louder. He looked around his bridge. Officers waited for him to choose what kind of commander he would be, a proud statue or a living mind. "Stand down," he said at last, voice tight. All weapons cold. The dreadnought's gun port sealed. What doors could close, closed. Shields dropped to minimal. Across the Imperial group, captains copied the command, some with relief, some with bitter silence. The Terrans moved then, but not to attack. Small Terran drones drifted out from the dark fleet. They were simple, bright with work lights, carrying no bombs. They approached the dreadnought's vents and seams and began to pull at the mesh. They did it carefully, as if treating a wound. Thalos watched, stunned. "You are repairing us?" "Enough to move," Reyes said. "Not enough to threaten us." Thalos's fingers tightened on the rail. "Why do this at all?" Reyes' answer came slower, heavier now, as if this part mattered most. "Because this wasn't only about you," he said. "This was about the kind of empire you are." Thalos frowned, explained. Reyes did not raise his voice. He did not need to. "We left Earth a long time ago," he said. "We met many flags, many empires. Most came smiling, then took what they wanted. Some came with guns first. The result was always the same. Someone suffered, and someone called it order." Reyes paused, then continued. "So humanity set a rule for itself. When a power arrives and claims peace, we test that claim, not with speeches, with choice." Thalos felt the words bite. "You baited us. We gave you a door," Reyes replied. "You could have opened it with respect. You could have asked. You could have kept distance and talked. You could have treated us like equals." Thalos remembered his own words. "You are small. You are far from your world. This is mercy." He tasted shame like metal. Reyes continued. "Instead, you brought a dreadnought, demanded surrender, and sent troops into our ships. That tells us everything we needed to know." Thalos's throat tightened. "So this was a judgment. It was a test," Reyes corrected. "And you failed it." Silence sat between them, full of things Thalos could not undo. Then Reyes added something unexpected. "But tests aren't only for punishment," he said. "They're also for learning." Thalos blinked. "Learning?" Reyes' voice stayed steady. "Now you know what happens when you push humans into a corner. We don't panic. We don't beg. We don't swing wildly. We build a box around the problem." Thalos stared at the Terran drones, still working, on his dreadnought as if it was a broken machine, not a hated enemy. "You will let us go," Thalos said, half question, half disbelief. "Yes," Reyes answered. "You will leave this sector. You will take your ship home. You will carry a message." Thalos's eyes narrowed. "A threat, a fact," Reyes said. "Humans can stop you without wiping you out, and we prefer it that way." The Terrans finished their work in stages. First, the dreadnought's heat dropped, then the drive locks eased, then a limited vent cycle began to run. Not perfect, not strong, but enough to travel in slow, safe pulses. When the last drone pulled away, Reyes sent one final transmission to Thalos. "No decoration, no pride. Here is the message you will carry," he said. "Leave this sector. Do not return with forced demands. If you want trade, ask. If you want peace, prove it. If you want war, understand that we do not fight to destroy. We fight to end it." Thalos wanted to argue, but every system report proved the Terran claim. They had held his dreadnought like a child holds a dangerous insect carefully, firmly, without crushing it. He closed his eyes for 1 second, then opened them and faced his bridge crew. "Set course," he said. "Home." His first officer hesitated. "My lord, the Emperor will ask why we did not punish them." Thalos looked out at the Terran fleet one last time. The ships remained in their quiet formation. No chasing, no victory shouts, no burning wrecks to show the galaxy. They did not seek revenge. Thalos said slowly, as if the sentence did not fit his mouth. They sought respect. The Imperial fleet began to withdraw, limping but alive. In the distance, Terran ships stayed exactly where they were, guarding their lane like patient sentries. News traveled faster than fleets ever could. Other powers heard that the mighty dreadnought had returned intact, yet humiliated, not by larger guns, not by secret superweapons, but by control, discipline, mercy. In Imperial halls, some laughed at the story until they read the reports. Vents clogged without explosions. Weapons refused to fire. Doors jammed as if the ship itself had chosen obedience. A dreadnought trapped, then released. And in the quiet corners of the galaxy, leaders began to rethink the meaning of power, because humanity had done something the stars rarely saw. Humanity had won, and then chosen not to punish. Not because it could not, but because it could.